What's up, Strike Nation? Blake Albertson here with B&B Lawn Care with the man, the myth, the legend, Brian's Lawn Maintenance.
Just another guy hanging out making videos. What's up, guys?
We're here, little family trip.
Yeah.
With the Fullertons, which is awesome. I have this like ongoing topic I've been talking about, like starting from no money. How would you suggest maybe a young kid getting started in the business? Talked about if you had $1,000 cash, how would you start a business? Today we're gonna talk about if you had like $5,000 in the bank.
Okay.
How would you suggest somebody starting their lawn care business? No truck, no equipment, no trailer right now.
That's a good question. And it's funny, right before we hit start on this, you were like, hey, here's the question. So I haven't really thought anything preliminary ahead of schedule, trying to think this thought out loud. But if you don't have a truck, I feel like that's kind of an entirely different conversation, because that's a hard one, right? Like if you said, hey, I got a pickup truck, I'm looking to get in business, well then it's kind of like half of your problem's already solved for a lawn care rig.
Yep.
So I would have to say, like, and you guys work with me here, so if you don't have a truck and you only have $5,000, then you're gonna have to pull a trailer setup with your van, your Ford Expedition, whatever, right? Like, it is what it is. Even with your car. I mean, and it's gonna look tacky and it's gonna look kind of weird or goofy. Or you're gonna have to put your equipment inside your van, your Expedition, if that makes sense. So I don't really think you're gonna be able to solve a little people mover thing here. Actually from Toro, go figure.
Yeah, those are awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's actually one of those like mules.
Dude, I'm telling you, if Disney World, if Disney World uses those, I've seen Kubotas, the Toros.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing huge properties, those things are the way to get around.
Those little mules. When we did the Troy Clog golf outing, Hot Pink De-Icer thing, first time golfing, I teed off with a driver, right? Missed it, swung again, missed it, clearly. You know, Tiger Woods. Knocked it as hard as I could, and I sliced. The ball went straight 90 degrees.
Which way, left or right?
Right.
Okay.
Hit a Toro mule dingo thing, whatever that thing is called, and this Hispanic guy hops up and goes, and Caleb Allman was with us, and Brittany Allman and my wife, and Caleb's like, dude, you need to go to apologize to that guy. So I mean, like, first time on the range, I almost killed somebody, like, for real. I hit the side of the metal of that door, it goes boonk, and the guy literally like pops up like a little, you know, muskrat. He goes, what the hell, basically, and I'm like, sorry, bro. So we'll go back to the question of $5,000. It's a really interesting thing, because I feel like so many of us get started with barely $5,000 to our name. I mean,
yeah, dude. Okay,
so here's what I would think. It depends on which way you want to approach this, but let's go two routes. Number one, you get a couple push mowers, you know, some $500 Toro recyclers, or maybe $1,400 Time Master, little 30-inch push mower. This is if you want to like stay out of debt. Conservative approach.
If we're opening up all angles, like,
yeah,
how would you suggest it?
Yeah, I'll give two angles. Number one, you spend that $5,000, you stay in that box, right? Yeah. So if I was gonna do that, I'd get a 30-inch Toro Time Master, pay cash for a trimmer, an edger, a blower. I would take, you got $1,500 there, $1,500 in hand tools. You got $2,000 left over. Go buy a, you know, $1,000, $1,500 trailer, maybe more used on Facebook. Yeah. And then I'd probably put the other $500 to $1,000 that's left into marketing, maybe some yard signs. You can get postcards made up, maybe on the cheap, you know, get 1,000 of them made up. And then also you could get, you know, 100 yard signs, a couple online vendors for $200-300. And that would be a good start to your business. Maybe a shirt or two, maybe another online vendor, something like that. Or you just buy some generic like Amazon essential t-shirts for like 15 bucks, and then take them to a local embroidery shop where they can just screen print your logo for, you know, 75 bucks, and you got 2 or 3 working shirts. Yeah. And just do laundry midweek. That's the first. So let's take it like block.
I think about, like, if I'm talking to younger guys, maybe teenagers, people in their 20s. It's a little bit different of advice than maybe somebody that's 35, 40, 50 years old with $5,000.
Right.
Because I feel like that would allow them to be able to borrow money.
Right, okay, so...
Which would be able to, of course, accelerate your business even faster. It's just I can't suggest that to a 16-year-old.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To go out and be bombarded when you have 0 customers.
Can't really do that. I mean, and by the way, like that number we just talked about, you're gonna have to leave 500 aside if you're just starting this business hypothetically, right? You need to put probably a first month down payment on your liability insurance. Maybe file your LLC for $200-300 so you can hire your actual firm to like do the other components to really structure your LLC correctly, which would be $1,000 to $1,500 with a real attorney. But you can register the actual LLC for $49. Maybe you got to put $50 in your business checking account.
Man, those Florida bugs, bro.
Yeah, actually hasn't been too bad, but that one's hanging on you all day. So I think that's a good first $5,000 if you want to stay small or conservative. And by the way, like it doesn't matter if you're 30 years old or 16 years old. I think that would be a simple approach.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 2. You got $5,000, and let's say you're 18 to 35. You know, and maybe you can pull some credit, leverage by borrowing a little bit. Whether you have that truck or not, let's say you're 35, you're getting in the business, like, and you're not completely busted. And let's say you have that family Suburban, and you want to downgrade that to an F-150. Or maybe you get $25,000 worth of equity in that thing. You can go change it out for an F-250 off a marketplace. Maybe it does have 150,000 miles, but you got an F-250 Chevy 2500, a Super Duty type of truck, a 3/4 ton. Now you got your mule, right?
Right.
So let's just say you ladder out a family vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. In a best case scenario, or you maybe have a little bit that you owe on it, but your payments don't kick in for 60 days. Okay, you're in business with a vehicle. Then that $5,000, I would pay, me personally, I'm always paid cash for my hand tools. You get 1 trimmer, 1 blower, 1 edger. Again, same thing, I'd borrow $1,500 towards marketing, a couple $100 towards your LLC creation and your liability insurance. But then for me personally, I would probably finance a trailer. The first thing I do is finance a mower, because God forbid you get the trailer, then you don't have enough credit to get the mower.
Right.
But I would go to the dealer, pull my credit, if you don't mind borrowing, and see what you get access to. I would at least get 1 mower to start. I don't think you really need 2 running out the gate. And then I'd figure out what my ideal customers are. Hopefully you've done some homework. And you'd say, hey, we need a 36-inch for our area. We got a bunch of gated backyards. Maybe we have gated and some nice sized front yards. I'd still go with a 36, because then you can do the backs and the front, and later you can backfill with a 60 or a 52. But if you're in a more rural part of town and you have nothing but wide open properties, I would just go right to that 52 or 60, whether stand on or sit down, it's up to you. My guys and I have been big fans of stand on mowers lately. So that being said, I would go to my dealer, I put nothing down. I go finance a 10-12 grand mower. My payments are gonna kick in for 30 to 60 days, $275 a month, so I'm not really worried about that. And then I would evaluate either financing a $3,500 utility trailer or paying cash for $1,000 for one on Facebook Marketplace. But that way, if you're a small business, it's kind of done, it's paid for, you can operate it. If you're 16 or 30 years old out of your vehicle, maybe a little utility trailer you pull around, or you can finance a mower, maybe finance a trailer, and really accelerate into getting the bigger properties and getting things moving fast. But if I could just say one quick thing, marketing is where I'd probably put the most amount of that money, because that's really what's going to make the phone ring. Right. More than
equipment. A stand-on mower there doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, just sitting in the garage.
Or having 2 trimmers or 2 blowers or a stick edger.
Yeah.
You know, or a bed redefiner or a hedge trimmer. Like, that stuff doesn't make you money until you get the work. So you can always have a customer, by the way, like let's say this $5,000 business getting going, and you're mowing a new lawn and say, hey, can you hedge prune? You're like, yeah, I could prune some hedges. Well, I need a $400 hedge trimmer. And the customer's like, yeah, we'll do it for about $1,500. We require a 50% deposit.
Yeah.
Get your $750. Yeah. Go buy your hedge trimmer, do the work. That's the profit.
That's an amazing point that I think is very important. All of us, I feel like in the industry, love equipment, right? And we go and we like almost get excited. Oh my gosh, there's a hedge trimmer here. Let's buy that too. But like, if you're trying to just get started into a mowing business, don't buy that piece of equipment until the job is like basically money in hand.
Yeah.
And you're already paying for that job. Don't just have a bunch of equipment sitting around because it's not doing anything.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Another point that you said that I really like is if you did have, you know, that family Suburban and you guys are jumping all into this business, you know, you're trying to better your life and better your family's life, it's like almost selling that and taking a momentary step back
Sure.
to plow through, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And so it's almost like a survival mode, like in the beginning of a business, finding out the things that actually need to be done. And
They look like they're having fun. That's awesome.
and those things are actually
That looks really cool.
really hard to do though.
Oh,
Like it takes all 4 people, bro.
Really?
Yeah,
It's
we
like a
did it
team
like when
effort.
I was a kid.
Well, that's
And I
your,
remember
there's
we
your
were like,
analogy. That's your analogy. Like the whole team's got to be on the same team,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Dude.
If you get rid of the family vehicle.
Yeah, like I mean, if you have a wife and kids, I mean, everybody needs to be on that team and be like, hey, if we're doing this, we need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's, in my opinion, if it's $5,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. I'm not a big fan of somebody taking $100,000 and dumping it into the lawn care business. I think you should purchase what you need and continue to grow and acquire after that. When Liz and I got married, we registered on our registry for almost everything because that's what you're supposed to do. And what I wish we would have did was get the 10, 20, 30 core items that we would have needed for like our first initial family household.
Yeah.
And then go buy the extra 3 pots to make up the whole pot and pan set.
Right.
Then go buy the extra salt shakers and seasoning things. Just to find out that you buy all the seasonings and you really just go back to salt and pepper.
Yeah.
You're like, nobody needs oregano and all this other junk. So it's like, slowly build it, what do they call it, a shoestring budget. But
Yeah.
$5,000, not to beat a dead horse, but I think $5,000 is a solid start. I think people probably underestimate. Here's the last thing I'll say, not to make this any longer than it has to be, but you'd be surprised if you gave yourself a budget of $5,000, how resourceful you could be if you made every dollar go to work for you. And I feel a lot of people, they just come up with arbitrary numbers, like I'm just gonna throw $25,000 at it or $50,000 at it. And I'm like, have you done any sweat equity? You know, 7-cent paper flyers, and you got nothing but time, let's say, because you're just getting started, hand billing, knocking on doors, going to 5,000 homes in subdivisions for a 7-cent flyer is equally effective as a 25-cent postcard getting mailed out for a $4,000 campaign.
Yeah.
Like if you're just getting started, you have time. So if you don't have money, but you have time, that 7-cent flyer is just as effective,
Yep.
maybe even more effective if you're knocking on every door to
And if you're
Aunt
giving out
Susie's
like,
house.
you know, people are out cleaning the garage and you're just going up, hey, like no hard selling, just actually like trying to serve people.
Right.
Another thing is like I built probably the first 5 years of my business using Facebook neighborhood pages and like
The free stuff.
free stuff, never even promoting stuff on Facebook.
Right.
And so you have to be, no matter at what size, no matter what money, you have to find what marketing works for you and your business.
Yeah.
Because just because postcards work for you, it might flop for me for many different reasons. The design, the time of year that we do it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you got to figure out what's going to work for you and be unique and really put in that sweat equity.
And that's the missing ingredient, I feel, for a lot of folks, is they want to just throw money at problems. And that can work a lot of times, but to be honest with you, like you have to build the company, and building requires getting dirty.
Here's the last question I have for you.
Yep.
As your business grows, you guys are what, like 3 trucks now, like 3 and 4 trucks?
Three trucks. We're doing 370 this year. Well, last year. This year we have a budget set up for 660. We have some pretty ambitious goals, and we're looking to go to $1 million pretty quick.
As you guys grow, do you feel like your setup, each individual crew's setup, is getting more simple or more complex as far as like equipment on the truck and trailer?
Oh no, very streamlined. Like and the funny thing is, this whole conversation stems from doing everything wrong that we probably have just talked about for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? So we've had all the one-off tools and we've tried all the different angles and approaches. And it's like, once you distill down what you actually need, and once the dust settles, you realize you need a mower, a trimmer, a blower, an edger, some sweat equity, some hard work, some safety glasses, and some trimmer line.
Yeah, I'm so
Gas-
glad you said that.
A gas can with some 2-stroke fuel. I mean, it's the next rig that we're building right now to set up for our next route. We're investing into another enclosed trailer. There'll be 3 stand-up mowers on this. This is like a super crew that's going to be heading down the road, doing a bunch of big commercial sites. It's the same principle of the first crew that we have, just an extra mower, an extra trimmer, an extra blower, but it's the same 8 working ingredients.
But it's funny, as you're growing and you're like, I want to be to that next level. I see these guys running around. You're like, I need all the hedge trimmers. And I mean, there was a point in my business, I remember we got the enclosed trailer and I'm like, I want 2 hedge trimmers in there. I want all the hand tools we can possibly have, you know, mowers and trimmers and backups and this and that. And as we've grown, and I know what it's actually like there for crews when I'm not on the truck, it's like we want the bare minimum of what we need to get the job done. I was telling you this the other night at dinner. It's like we don't even keep a lot of parts. It's just I know what breaks down most often. Just because we have a belt break once every year. That doesn't mean that I have to stock belts and they're gonna get all dirty and gross and nasty. It's I know that we pop 1 tire, you know, a flat tire every month. So that's a pretty frequent event, and we keep that on the truck. So what I'm saying is, as you're growing and as you're building crews, it's like, you know, you need mowers, you need a trimmer, you need a blower and trimmer line, and that's pretty much what's on the truck. You don't. It's not like you're like I always thought as the business would grow, we'd have like, you know, side-by-sides driving behind the trucks and like just all this fancy stuff. But you realize that that's not what makes you money.
No, I mean,
and it doesn't save much time or anything.
It's the same thing with like the fancier trucks. I've had fancier trucks. I've had low-key trucks. Low-key trucks work very similar to fancy trucks. Now I've rewarded myself with nicer trucks. Right, but that's a different conversation, right? But to get the work done, a 48 grand truck works just as well as a 78 grand truck. As somebody who owns both, you know, multiples, there's no difference. But hey, you know, if you get to the point in your business where you're cash flow positive, you want to reinvest, you want the nicer things, you want the extra little doodads and trinkets and a one-off mule that just went by for that one site and it doesn't really make sense, but you want it, it's convenience, it's easy, then go for it. Like, but that's not year 1, 2, or 3. Maybe even honestly year 4, 5, or 6. Right. So that's all stuff that you build up to. But
from talking with you, I feel like you're at the point that if you were going to go buy a $100,000 truck, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like in same way with me, I would go buy 2 $50,000 trucks and start 2 more crews.
I would,
as opposed to a $100,000 truck.
Again, if you're gonna live in your truck, go get your limited, platinum, blah 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 blah. You pick your thing. Your Laramie. I don't even know the other brand, sorry, but your Denali. The Denali GMCs look pretty dope.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Shout out to the GMC gang out there. But yeah, it just again depends on your business model, what you're trying to do, where you're trying to grow, and where you're trying to go. So me personally, right now in my life, I've had the nicer things. I wanted to get the nicer things. There was a materialistic phase of my life. I work hard for it. I wanted the nicer things, but then you realize watching your guys grow, give them opportunity, making an impact in your community, serving people, like that's really, you know, the real fulfilling stuff as you grow your company. What two things I'll just say that you made me think about, and I'll just brought it up really easily. You know the old acronym KISS, keep it simple, silly, right? Like keep it simple, silly. Like don't overcomplicate lawn and landscape. You know, the equipment is one thing. Getting the work done is a whole nother conversation. And what's more impressive than your enclosed trailer setup or your utility trailer setup is, have you been on time mowing those lawns 29 weeks in a row or 32 weeks in a row or 18 weeks in a row, wherever you guys are at, right? Like, hey, you made a commitment to be there on Wednesday at, you know, whatever time, between 8 and 5. Mow that lawn every Wednesday for 29 weeks straight for a decade. To me, I'll be more impressed with that than your enclosed trailer setup video 2024. The work you're doing and the way your clients think of you. We've have some customers that have been mowed every Tuesday for 29 weeks straight for 17 years. We don't miss a beat. Other than a hurricane that came up through the whole country, or some God forbid awful scenario where everybody's got COVID or something wild, I don't know. But we've always shown up every 6 to 8 days, minus any drastic weather event. But number 2, all things being said, well, I'll just butt it up, and I'm sure you can leave cards or end screens on all that mess. I always forget what to point. But somewhere in the corners, check out the enclosed trailer, utility trailer setup videos that everybody does. That being said, I do like watching those videos because it gets me thinking creatively. Those are motivation to me, but like this level of talk and think is like, I feel like we've matured, bro. Like I really do. Like you get older, you realize we're trying to go to the next level. That's and you and I feel like are on the same sort of mission on that of like we've kind of been one truck crews for a while. You know, I think you're like 16, 17 season, and I've been doing it for about 16 years, probably, you know, 12 legitimate, like
trying to grow a business, not just a kid out there mowing, right?
Sure.
But like we've done that and we've seen the pros and cons of it, and like I'm trying to grow from 2 crews to, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You'll realize, as I'm sure you already have if you haven't, just like I have, that giving people opportunity to grow in your company and really get them better wages, give them the opportunity to, you know, climb up the ladder, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You have to have a ladder there for them to climb up. So that's really what's more fulfilling for us right now.
Yeah, and I focus on people, and it sucks that like we had a $100,000 business for a while, right? Like right around there, 150, 200, and it's like, unfortunately, you can't offer things that people are wanting for a career. You can't offer that pay. You can't offer health insurance. There's just not enough margin in that game.
Right.
So we have to, as leaders and business owners, we have to level up to that.
And that's your responsibility to learn the business, study the business, best practices, equipment, business mastery, self-mastery, right? Communication, selling, accountability, integrity, all those kind of different conversations. But yeah, it's a fun journey. I mean, you're not going to likely figure it out off of one YouTube video or one podcast or one season. Frankly, my first decade was pretty disastrous.
We'll probably never figure it out in one lifetime, but we're trying.
Yeah. So my first decade was not the most illustrious. Met some great people along the way that were transformational for how I was thinking. And once I got my thinking right, everything else kind of fell into place.
Beautiful.
So
thanks, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll appreciate you guys
Check
watching.
out Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel.
What's my podcast, by the way?
The other night we were on my podcast and I was like, yeah, take a listen to Brian's Lawn Maintenance podcast on iTunes or whatever.
I'm a big listener.
He goes,
I'm a big listener.
He's like, that's not my podcast name. The Fullerton Unfiltered, all right?
Yeah, Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. He goes, I'm a big listener. I love the show. I go, what's the name of it again?
Thank you, sir. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.
Peace.
Bye.